This video is going to be about how to handle objections, and in your advanced training they probably taught you how to we definitely taught you how to handle objections before they come up. All right, and what you want to know is the definition of an objection. The definition of an objection is a request for more information. Okay, so and that might not sound like, oh, that's not my definition, but that's what it is. All right, so they are, when you get an objection to whether it's a sale or recommendations or a phone appointment, well, then the point is that you have to handle the objection. All right, objections are just ways for the customer to say, look, I'd really like to do this for you, but here's my problem. All right, so we all know the 5 common objections for sales, right? My knives are okay, can't afford it, too expensive, not now, got to think about it, something like that. You know, procrastination. And can I get pieces? Okay, so those are the 5. Those are the main 5 you have to learn how to deal with. And again, you should be diminishing these greatly if you are handling these objections in your demo before you get them. Just as a recap, my knives are fine. You should be doing a great job on your bad knives page and showing them why they're not fine. Can't afford it means it's just a building of value, okay, during your demo, and showing them how much money they save and how they can afford it, okay. Desire, cutting food, telling them that you could afford your knives, you bought your, well, as far as that goes. So, that these knives are mine, Miss Jones, I love them, all that kind of stuff. Creating desire. Too expensive, just using the expensive word a lot. Miss Jones, this steel is really expensive, but it's worth it because of this. And Miss Jones, this guarantee, have you ever heard of a company with a guarantee like this? Well, Rolex has it on their product, so the guarantee means you never have to buy stuff ever again. That costs a lot more, all right? Can I get it later, okay? Or I got to talk to my husband, I got to talk to my wife, I got to talk to my dog before, I buy knives. That's just a 15-day trial period, So, so Mr. Jones, the best part of our guarantee is 15-day trial period, so that way you can try it out. You can date your Cutco before you marry. You don't have to make a big decision today. You can put out a small deposit on our set, on any set you see here today, and they'll send you the entire set to play with. So that way you can make a decision as on using the products as opposed to making a big decision today while I'm here. Not cool? Great. Okay, that's how you handle that one. And can I get pieces? Okay, saying the word set a lot during your demos. Miss Jones, this is your set. When they ask for, Miss Jones, when you open to the homemaker page and show them all the pieces, you go, Miss Jones, like sometimes customers try to be like the one knife cowboy, right? And they get like one little knife and they try to use it for everything, and they're using it for like watermelon and stuff, or they get one big knife and they look crazy when they're trying to cut up like like a banana in their cereal with this big machete knife. It's like there's not one knife that does everything, and they're kind of silly for people to try to use one knife for everything. Oh yeah, it's silly. Okay, so there you go. Now they can't say it. So that's a crash course on how to handle it beforehand. If you don't remember how to do that, go back and ask your manager. But now you get to the end of the demo, and the customer still has objections. Okay, and by the way, objections are good. You gotta understand that objections are good. All right, objections are not no's. All right, so if I said I'm gonna sell you, I don't know, this button on my jacket, and I said it's $5,000 for this button, none of you would be like, well, I can't afford that button. Okay, you would be like, no, I'm not spending $5,000 on a button. I said, well, none of you would say, well, that's too expensive for a button. You would just say no. You wouldn't say, well, I got to think about it. You would say no. All right, you wouldn't ask me questions. You wouldn't give me objections. I would just say, look, you want to buy this button? It's $5,000. You'd be like, no, I ain't buying that. All right, so so the point is that understand an objection is a request for more information. Can't afford it just means, how can I afford it? Okay, so I want to buy the knives, but how do I afford it? Okay, too expensive is I want to buy the knives, but why do they cost so much? Why are they so expensive? My knives are okay. I want to buy the knives, but I don't understand why I need new knives. My knives seem fine. Okay, what's the other one? I want to think about it. I want to buy the knives, but why do I have to buy them now? Or why shouldn't I think about it? Or why can't I get them later? It's just a question. Pieces, can I get pieces is just, why do I need all those pieces? Or, you just need to explain it better. So with the objections, there's 4 steps to handling objections. It's called the objection cycle. But there's 4 steps, all right? It's really 5 steps. There's one's a preamble step. It's like 1A. So here's the first step, and you can write this down in your notes. Really important. And by the way, what I'm going to teach you right now doesn't just work for Cutco sales, right? If you learn how to handle objections properly, you get them from everywhere. Every single type of profession gets objections, all right? Doctors get objections, lawyers get objections. Every type of person gets an objection. I have a friend who's a scientist, and she calls me. She's a scientist. She does neuroscience or something. No, genetics. Okay, she's a geneticist, and she literally calls me every 5 or 6 months and says, "Hey, give me some of that sales stuff, that presentation stuff," because she's got to go to the government and get grants and get money for her studies. She can't just study. She can't just do her work and research with no money. So she's got to present all the things that she's doing. So the point being is, you got to learn how to handle objections. All right, So here's step one of handling objections, all right, is clarify the objection, all right? Got to make sure you're handling the right objection. And the easiest way to clarify is to repeat say it again. So Ms. Jones, just so I understand what you're saying, you like the products and you want to get them, but, you just can't afford the, $1,000 right now on full. Is that correct? That's all right? So that's fine. Especially if they say something weird, like it's too sharp. All right, so I go, so Ms. Jones, so just so I understand what you're saying, you like the products, you want to buy them, but they're too sharp, okay? And they're like, no, I have little kids and this and that. Oh, okay, so kids, all right? And you should handle that before it comes up. But now you got the real objection now. Does that make sense? All right. So, and by the way, the objections are not just on closing. You can get the same objections with recommendations. I don't want to do that to my friends, or here's 1 or 2 people, or I don't know anybody. All right. So, the point is, the first thing you just want to make sure you're clarifying the objection. All right. Same thing on the phone. Al, I'm busy. Okay. So, Mrs. Jones, so what you're saying is you really want to help me out, and you want to see the presentation, but you're just really busy, this weekend. Is that correct? All right. So, and by repeating what they say, okay, and that's by clarifying and repeating what they say, it makes them listen to you. Okay. They go, okay, well, you listen to me, so I'm going to listen to you. All right. So the first, so now step 2, I guess it is, after you clarify that you're getting the right objection, is to repeat the objection. Okay, so you repeat it back. All right, which is what I just did anyway. All right. It's agree and repeat. All right. So you agree with what the customer said. All right. So customer says, I can't afford it. All right. They're expecting you, by the way, to do what? Payment plans. That's what new reps do. All right. So they skip step 1 and 2 and they go right to the answer. And let me help you out with this. People don't want the answers, okay? They don't want to know your answer, all right? They know you have an answer. They know when they say, I can't afford it, you're not just going to hop in your blue bag and zip it up from the inside and hop out the door. They know you're going to say something, and so they're ready to fight, okay? So when you're given an answer, if you haven't taken care of this first step, if you haven't agreed and got them to listen and open up and listen to you, they're not going to listen to you, all right? So it's like, it's like a little kid, It's like, Mom, can I have a cookie? No, we're about to eat dinner. But Mom, I'm hungry now. Okay, well, that's true. Okay, that's a true statement. The kid is hungry now. But does the kid get cookies that way? And the mom's like, no, get out of here. We're about to eat dinner. Here's how you know if you're not handling objections correctly. If when you handle it, they say the exact same thing again, just like the mom would. Mom, can I have a cookie? We're about to eat dinner. But I'm hungry now. We're about to eat dinner. Okay, so she just blew off whatever you said, whatever that kid said, and just kept going. Okay, so by the way, this worked with getting cookies. This will work with getting out late. If you want to get your curfew moved, if you have curfew. This will work with teachers. I've had students get out of finals. All right, I remember John Bradley didn't even have to take his finals. He just went to the teachers, used the objection cycle, used some of the sales guys did, and didn't have to take his finals, and he graduated valedictorian of Stony Brook University. So he just talked to his teachers and said, look, I'm gonna ace the final anyway. Do I really have to take it? Okay, so you can, when you learn how to communicate, you can get all kinds of stuff. Free stuff. I get free stuff all the time just because I ask for it and I handle objections. All right, but most people are scared to handle objections. They're afraid of asking or being rejected.